760.
2,649, 272.
Yep. So that takes care of that. And then you have a new rescue budget.
Yeah, we had discussed possibly breaking that out, and so I put a quick budget together for that. Yeah. So
Has it been included this in the other budget, or any of it, or is this all new?
This is stuff that, yeah, I've been paying for out of our budget.
Okay.
I see one error though. It has a line 11300 for regular wages, and I really think that that was supposed to be down under equipment 20700.
3,000 there, okay.
I don't know, I probably messed up getting it on the line, on the correct line or something.
You didn't want like a 2-hour-a-week person?
No.
That
would be
did seem
nice.
odd, there would be
You know,
$3,000 in there, but yeah.
yeah.
Now, so the revenue for this particular fund is through donations and,
There really is no revenue stream other than what you guys give every year, which is $5,000 that goes towards, it goes to the Allen Hall Fund for like purchase of a new, not new, but another rescue truck.
so this will not work the way it's set up then, because if there's no revenue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're splitting this out for rescue, you'd almost need to have a department within the general fund or that kind of thing, or a line item in your budget that's just rescue with the total. That kind of thing would need to be set up that way. Did you should we be subtracting some of these things out of yours then, if you've been paying for it and you now want it to be separate? Like gas, oil, and lube, tires, should those line items in yours be adjusted?
With let's just take gas, oil, and lube. Probably not adjust mine, because with the mileage that's put on those, I do those trucks normally every other year as far as changing oil. Tires and tubes, I've not bought tires for the rescue trucks out of my budget.
Okay.
And so I can't see, I've done repairs to tires maybe, but I can't see reducing my budget on tires and tubes any out of the EMS. Repair of equipment, we may be able to pull some out of my EMS budget for that.
Well, your group insurance, so what's that wouldn't be? There's no need for that to be in this budget.
Yeah, the liability and group insurance, would that be in there?
Right now, the liability insurance on the vehicles is paid out of my budget. So
And your
I'm
group
just,
insurance is no employee.
well, but we pay, because they're volunteers, we pay accidental sickness and health on them, and we pay
In case volunteering after.
long-term or disability, stuff like that. We have separate policies for
Okay.
that.
So you want to put that in this budget?
Well, I think that's what,
Keep it separate from your EMS.
Or a specific line item.
or a specific line
That
item.
gives him flexibility if he needs to pool or pay for something extra that wasn't prepared. Plus, it also keeps him from having to say which line
Yeah.
item it is. It's just anything rescue, we just specifically. come out.
I like having the separation. I think that what we really should do here is within the 1151, can we create a department like we do for general? It's 1151-0001 that's rescue. And then we have the line items that are actually rescue numbers. And then whatever adjustments are needed to your regular fund, you know, we need to adjust those. What do you think?
It doesn't discriminate as far as state board accounts and.
Okay?
And like that, that's what they tried to do with the highway department with 1176, and they wanted to make a sub fund. And so what we ended up having to do were everybody in all 92 counties had to create another fund, the 1173 fund.
Okay.
So, because that's what they tried to do, and it doesn't work.
So how does the general work then? Because we have different departments within general, and they're separate.
That's her directive of State Board of Accounts.
Okay.
So,
Well, whatever they say, I think this needs a little more time than to figure out
Yeah.
than we have right now. But I do like the concept. I like the
Can you
idea.
do like a line item, but then have it, have the sheet where it tells exactly, you wouldn't exactly
we
pay
can have
for it out
like
of that.
rescue, repair of equipment. Rescue,
Well,
Yeah.
that would be
liability.
fine too.
Just have two the same
Within
line
the
items
EMS.
with a different name, but it would still be equipment, tires, oil, and we just would have a second one that would say.
It would still be under EMS, but it would say rescue, repairs. Yeah.
We could do things like that. We're able to edit things like that, but
Just double up the line items and put an amount in it. So you would have 1151 gas oil new EMS and then 1151 gas oil new rescue. That would be if you want to keep it all in the same budget. You can still split out the line items in the same budget.
Which would be easier for you as officer?
For us, it doesn't matter as long as it's Chris who's gonna have to make sure he's putting it in rescue or EMS side of it. But it would let him track it as
Better.
well as the council. If he knows he has $5,000 in that line item and then he knows he has to quit at 5,000 or borrow from his fund or say to you guys, hey, I spent an extra $50 on, and just for the first year of tracking, just double the line items in the fund.
And Tom, can we put that on the wish list and look at it?
We can do a follow-up on it. Rescue, incorporate somewhere. Somewhere, somehow. Okay. And in the meantime, Chris, what I would suggest is make sure to double-check those numbers, because if a lot of those things were already a part of your budget, what is the actual cost for rescue? And I would think that there'd be some kind of offset from the numbers we've already been setting the last so many years, because if it included it,
Yeah.
then your fuel, you would have been paying for fuel out of fuel. And so if you're going to now separate that off, so much amount,
There's some things that we can do that with.
Yeah.
But if you look at uniforms, all the uniforms that we've bought for those guys, and you're talking $1,200 to $1,500 per set of turnout gear. Those we've been getting on grants or from ARPA money or different things like that. I've never bought uniforms for the rescue team out of my budget.
got it.
Training, we try to, get people to sponsor to do training. So there's some stuff there that we probably can do that with. But other things we can't. So I'll work on those.
Okay. Yeah, I like the concept.
One of the things that I did want to bring up, though, was I was sure I was going to get questioned about the $2,000 for tires. And I'm not sure what the answer to it is, other than maybe one-time monies. Because rescue is kind of like a fire department, response equipment and stuff like that, I went to NFPA, which is National Fire Protection Agency. I went to their guidelines about tires, and what happens with fire trucks, a perfect example, these rescue trucks, you never wear a set of tires out. So what happens is NFPA has suggested that tires get replaced every 8 years, just because degradation of the rubber, and all of a sudden, you know, you're running 80 mile an hour. Of course, those trucks won't run 80 mile an hour, but you're running down the road and all of a sudden a tire comes apart. And so what I did was I went out and looked at the tires. On your tires, there's a spot on the tire that shows that it's a 4-digit number. And like in this instance, this tire here has 1618. That means that tire was produced the 16th week of 2018. So I went out and I looked at our trucks that are out in the bay. The front tires on the large rescue truck was produced the 47th week of 14. The rear tires were produced the 29th week of 2016. And then the tires that are on the small rescue truck were produced the 41st week of 07. So our tires are pretty aged on those vehicles. I looked at some prices on the large truck. They're anywhere from $650 to $906 each, and takes 6 of them. And the smaller truck, $203 to $300 each. So kind of gives you an idea of what I really need to replace those tires. The tread on them looks awesome, but
I would think that we should get that taken care of sooner rather than later,
yeah.
and not,
I
if
just
there's a
don't-
big catch-up to get them outfitted and get it back to current, probably be better to use some one-time money like Riverboat or something, just to do that shot in the arm and get them up to date now. And then for budgeting purposes, whatever regular need there is on an annual basis, or an emergent need, maybe there's something got broke or flat and it just
Yeah.
flat, another tire needs to be purchased, that would be what you budget for, instead of the catching up for 15 or 20 years worth of tires. And we could do that, you know, at our regular meeting rather than next year,
Yeah.
if
Okay.
that's something that might be a good idea.
I'll put a proposal together for the next meeting.
Yeah, and then we can advertise for X
Are we
at
thinking
the,
one time?
yeah.
Well, these tires, I mean, they might look new, but you put a speed and the heat that we've had.
When they dry rot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're, after they get some age on them. I think the federal government, I was thinking they passed a law that you couldn't sell a used tire that was over 3 years old.
Yeah, I'm not sure about
Well,
that.
I thought so, because, and then you can read right on the side the date.
Yeah. I know, I've got a
Yeah.
car that, it was the first car I bought, sits in my garage, and about 5 years ago, well, I put brand new tires on it in 1989. About 5 years ago, me and the wife took it to get ice cream, and on the way home, didn't have a blowout, but I started getting a shaking. And when I got home, the two front tires had wires hanging out of them. Tread was brand new. It looks brand new. But they just, because they were so old, I mean, they were 20 years old, tires. So,
Let's get it fixed.
yeah, so or actually older than 20 years old, but yeah. So I will put something together for the next council meeting.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate all your work.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to make a motion, we recess for lunch.
You need a second on that, Anton? Is that debatable?
We're supposed to be back by 1:15. Should we, maybe 1:20? We should at least maybe give ourselves an hour.
Yeah,
1:30?
1:30, okay.
Okay.
Be back at 1:30.
I will lock the door when everybody leaves, so. whatever.